Hey, virtual students. This is actually just a continuation of that other video. I had some technical difficulties, so if I disappear off the screen, you don't really need to see me anyway, and my voice is still there, and then we're going to make do. So I may disappear again off the camera. Not a big deal, but let's kind of back up for just a second and kind of piggyback off that other video. So I'll have both videos on there. So this is this one session, but two different videos. And again, use fill in the blanks. So when you look at the scientific method, it's really important that we understand that you got to run through a series of steps to answer a question. We'll go over that in notes later, and I got a little fun paper airplane lab we'll do with that. And I think that's something that is important to understand. And I think I'm going to just skip this video clip. I got another one I want to show you in a little bit if that works. So let's kind of move ahead. And this, again, is not in your notes either, but let's kind of break biology down. Bios means life. Ology means study of. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to study, the life. Man, that's huge. That's a big category that is kind of hard sometimes to break down. That's why a lot of times a biologist will sometimes specialize in a certain area like genetics or biochemistry or zoology or botany, because it is a huge subject. We're just going to kind of do an overview. We're just going to scratch the surface of biology this year and kind of get you introduced. And then if you take chemistry and physics and anatomy, bio 2, then we'll go in a little more detail with some of this. So let's jump right in. So this is where we'll start filling in your notes. So here we go. If I go too fast, pause the video. You're welcome to. That's the nice thing with you guys. In my lecture, they can't pause me. You can pause me and fill in the blanks and come back. So there it is, biology, study of life. But what is life? That's a good question. And you can't really say just one single characteristic describes life. You gotta make sure that you look at all. There's 8 of them, and we're going to look at those 8. And for example, there's a lot of non-living things that can do some of these. Like let's take, for example, growth and development. An icicle can grow. A stalagmite, stalactite in a cave, a rock crystal, they all can grow. Doesn't make them living. They don't have the other 8 characteristics of life. And little did I know this little video we're going to watch here for a second would be so important as far as viruses. I've had this slide on for years. Didn't no idea COVID-19 would be what it is today. So I apologize. We're going to get interrupted with the PA just like we do in class. So there you go. You get the real thing. So here we go. Let's play this video. Hope it works. And then we'll do a few more notes, and then we'll call it good. So here we go. Maybe. There we go. Hopefully you guys can all see that and hear it.
Viruses are nasty and icky and sneaky, and now it turns out they also might be alive. Anthony here for D-News, and there are 2 things that are bound to get scientists into a knife fight. One is defining what life is, and the other is figuring out whether viruses fit into that definition. But a new study by Tufts University says that whatever life is, viruses are probably part of it, and that is because they are stealing it from us. So biologists go back and forth on what life is so much that at one point there were over 280 competing scientific definitions of life on record. That is a lot. There are some basic guidelines that everyone agrees on. You've probably heard them before. Life is made of 1 or more cells. It obtains and uses energy, grows and develops, it reproduces, it responds and adapts to its environment. And viruses have sort of straddled the line between living and non-living for a while. At first we thought they were poison, and then we thought they were living things, and then in 1946, Wendell Stanley got a Nobel Prize in chemistry for showing that they don't have the equipment to metabolize stuff, which means they can't get and use energy. Viruses also don't have cells of their own. They're basically just these little packets of DNA or RNA that live inside of other cells and piggyback on those cells' ability to reproduce, to get themselves replicated. And that's why they're so hard to define. They sort of borrow some of the building blocks of life from us instead of filling the requirements themselves. But now it looks like viruses don't just borrow those things from us. They steal them and integrate them, copy them, and make them a permanent part of themselves. So the team from Tufts took a look at a type of virus that attacks bacteria, which is called a bacteriophage, or just a phage, if you're nasty. This particular phage attacks cholera bacteria, and surprisingly, the phage had stolen the immunity system from the bacteria. And as it replicated, all the new viruses had it too. It had just ganked cholera's whole immune system. And what's interesting is that the new strain became better at destroying cholera because they both have the same immune system. So this means that viruses could potentially be living things, assuming they've taken the right stuff from their hosts. Now that doesn't mean they have yet. They still don't fit exactly into the mold, but they're much closer than we thought. We talked a bit about how tricky it is to decide whether something is alive or intelligent before, when we talked about that slime mold that could solve mazes. And while it might seem like splitting hairs or too academic an argument to have, actually defining these things is important for a lot of reasons. You know, think about looking for life on Mars like we're doing right now. We have to know exactly what life is before we can really say whether we found it or not. So what do you think? If it steals the building blocks of life, does it become a living thing? And if so...
Okay, so I don't know if you caught that, but how many competing arguments for the definition of life are there? 280. That's from science. So defining life is not maybe quite as easy as one might think. You know, most people think, oh, it's easy. We can figure out what life is. We got to look at these characteristics. So let's start going through some of these. I'm going to highlight in red what's really important. So if you got a highlighter, you might want to highlight that in your notes or circle it. For example, as you see on my slide, DNA is in red. Here's the deal. On the quiz / mini test, whatever you want to call it next week, I'll have 8 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they're all going to say the same thing. Living things blank, living things blank, 8 times. And you're just going to fill in things like they have DNA, they grow, they develop, whatever. Okay, so no particular order, but you need to know these 8. So highlight them, circle them, whatever. And the first one is the big one, DNA. DNA is the genetic code. You guys know and heard of DNA in your other science classes. Deoxyribonucleic acid, one of the few things that living things have and non-living things do not. Okay, we pass it on, we copy it. Again, I'm disappearing off and on. Don't worry about it as long as you still can hear me. And that's something that I think is really, really important that we understand is that we're doing some crazy things with DNA. You know, we're able to something called CRISPR. I didn't show you that video, but CRISPR allows us to edit DNA so we can take pieces out and put new pieces in. So let's say, for example, right here, this purple, yellow, and red, let's say that that's some awful genetic disease, like let's give it a name, LESH9, which if a baby is born with LESH9, they're normal till about 2 or 3, and they quit smiling, they go deaf, they go blind, they die before the age of 5. It's awful. Nothing science can do to stop it. However, in the future, we may be able to go in and clip out that bad gene, put in a normal one. Now that baby doesn't develop that disease. That would be awesome. So that's basically what we're looking at in the future, which is exciting. So living things have DNA. So highlight that and make sure that you remember that on the quiz or test. Okay. Number 2, we grow and we develop. That is another very important life characteristic. Already said earlier, non-living things can do this one, okay? But it's amazing how a single fertilized egg, all of us start out just as 2 cells, and look what we are today. Pretty amazing when you think about it. And we'll talk about this differentiation thing later. Cells are able to differentiate, become blood, skin, muscle, bone. That's why we can live as long as we can, okay? So that's kind of the, sorry I had to break this up into 2 short videos, but my technologies are giving me a little fits. We'll work on that. But that's a good start. We'll pick up here tomorrow. And if you have questions, we'll address those either through email or our Google Meet that we're going to have on Friday. So hope you have a good rest of the day. We'll talk to you later. Watch this video today. Fill in the blank notes to that point, and we'll pick up there later. So thank you.